I'm going to get started then. When I was younger, the second I got money, I immediately spent it on Lego sets. I thought they were so valuable, it was my favorite toy, and I was spending money like crazy. In fact, looking back at the thousands of dollars that I spent probably on Legos, I truly regret it now. Not because at the time I didn't think they were valuable, because at the time, that's exactly what I wanted. I thought it was extremely valuable for me to get Legos. But now they don't have any value to me. In fact, I gave all of them to my younger brothers who now have all of them. I don't even have it anymore. I don't see it as perceived value. And that idea of perceiving something as valuable or perceived value is crucial to my answering the question that I chose. And that is asking that, is there a cryptocurrency bubble that is in danger of bursting? And I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of describe what cryptocurrency is, how it works, where we're at right now, just a basic understanding so we can really understand where we're headed in the future. But second, I want to look at exactly that. Where are we headed in the future? What is going on right now with cryptocurrency, and what does it mean for us as individuals? Because I'm sure we've all heard of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, but oftentimes it feels so far away or it seems so important that we don't really take the time to think about it. But the possibility that it could be a part of your individual lives and your everyday life is really interesting to me. So we're going to start by looking at, first off, what is cryptocurrency? Kind of where is it at right now? And kind of the best way to describe it is kind of like I did for my Legos in the beginning of my speech, and that is a perceived value. Cryptocurrency is essentially a value that is perceived by people, and it's only valuable as long as people think of it as valuable. So the way that Bitcoin and different cryptocurrencies like Ethereum and Doge all operate is within different marketplaces that are called Bitcoin exchanges. Essentially, where people exchange Bitcoin, people who all perceive it as valuable exchange it at a different rate and with each other. So it only operates with people that perceive it as valuable. So just because maybe you don't see it as valuable, but somebody else does, that person isn't going to be able to trade Bitcoin or cryptocurrency with you, but they would do it with somebody within this marketplace. Now, what's really interesting about cryptocurrency is that it's completely inconsistent. In fact, an article from the Conversation Journal is kind of describing this issue of inconsistency that cryptocurrency has always had. For example, it was describing how within a 3-month period back in 2020, cryptocurrency was able to drop, and in 3 months, it was able to drop at a record low, a record high, and then plunge again at 80% before reaching another record high in the course of 3 months. Something that we're not used to with something like the US dollar, but is very common with cryptocurrency. And the reason for this is because it's perceived value. It's not a part of any sort of fiscal or monetary policy. It exists only within the marketplaces that see it as valuable. And this has kind of been the downfall, but also the upside of cryptocurrency. And kind of the last way we're going to understand this is the two ways that Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies operate. The first one is through investment. So many people, this is probably what you've heard of the most. Many people just invest their money into Bitcoin and different currencies so that they can get more money out of it whenever the price or the cost or the value of it goes up inevitably in the future. But the second one is kind of what's becoming more and more popular, and what really leads me into my next point, and that is of international and national payments between people. Essentially, more and more businesses and companies are recognizing it as valuable. And the reason why people are turning to cryptocurrency is because there's no fees. For example, if you had a credit card fee, there's not going to be anything like that within cryptocurrency. It's pretty easy and cheap to do these international payments that typically take a long time or are harder to do with international banks. And also, there's no regulation, which is great and helpful for a lot of businesses that perceive it as valuable. And this segues me into my second point, kind of what's happening right now and what does it mean of the cryptocurrency bubble that's in danger of bursting. Essentially, we see this from a CNBC article in January 11th, 2021, describing how a lot of people are concerned that cryptocurrency has kind of reached its endpoint, that it's not really going to go up anymore, and it's in danger of running out of ways to go up. But the reality of the situation is very different. Perhaps you've probably heard of in recent months, PayPal is now accepting or allowing its users to sell and buy with Bitcoin. What this is key, and what this means for Bitcoin, is that more and more people are perceiving it as valuable. For example, whenever I started giving away my Legos and I wasn't interested in them anymore, essentially they lost a customer. I no longer saw it as valuable. In the same way, cryptocurrency is only as valuable as the people make it out to be. And this is the biggest thing that has to deal with cryptocurrency, especially in an article that was published by the Wall Street Journal, when they talked about how there are reports right now that it could jump to $100,000 to $318,000 for one Bitcoin or one cryptocurrency by the end of 2021 or 2022. And that sounds crazy and that sounds insane, but I want to give you kind of some perspective on why this is possible. Right now, if you were to look it up, or when I looked it up, one Bitcoin is worth $35,000. But if you were to look up that same question, how much is it worth tomorrow, you'd probably get a different number, maybe 34,000, 33, 36, something different. And this inconsistency has always been the problem for cryptocurrency. And that's kind of the impact of my answer to this question. And what I firmly believe that actually it's not going to burst and it's not going to run out of ways to give up. And there's a couple reasons why. The first thing that we've seen is in recent months, online shopping has gone up increasing amounts. Not only that, online banking is becoming something that is normal and more normal. You might be familiar, your banks are coming out with new ways to do things online, to cash checks online. All of these things are becoming more and more familiar. Essentially, currency is slowly moving more and more online, which is why cryptocurrency is definitely not going to be cut out of the future ways that we do payments and we do business. But the biggest thing that they need to look out for, and these different companies and markets need to look out for, is the fact that not enough people recognize its value. You see, they kind of have a chicken and the egg problem here. They need more people to perceive its value for it to be more and more consistent. But the reason why people don't perceive its value is because of its inconsistency. So kind of its downfall is that not enough people have joined the marketplaces, are using cryptocurrency, or see it as valuable, and therefore its value is always fluctuating, it's always inconsistent. But what they need is more people to perceive it as valuable. So I think the biggest takeaway that you can probably take from this is probably to know a little bit more about cryptocurrency, not because you're going to be using it or you're going to need to know exactly what it is within the near future, but because maybe from 10 years from now or 15 years from now, we're going to see an online currency specifically become a bigger and bigger part of our lives. We've always seen this. Things that used to be abnormal become more and more normal, and things that were normal become more and more abnormal. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys so much for judging. I appreciate it.
And there you go.
And we go. All right.
There's Marco.